It's August. Happy new month. What did you do over the weekend to celebrate? Did you go out with your boyfriend? Or did you guys finally break up? You finally broke up and call it quits, eh? Good evening, and thank you so much for choosing to hang out with me. If it's your first time, this is Eric Stories. My name is Eric. I'm that Eric. Yes, if you're a regular, as always, all the love. I appreciate you. You know, earlier today I was thinking about something very stupid I did in my quest to be deeply in love. This woman I was dating announced to me first with signs that she was seeing somebody else. And then later she verbalized it. She said, I'm seeing somebody else. I met somebody and I'm seeing them and I love them. But then why are women so hurtful? But I thank them. They're very honest. I mean, they come and tell you. Men, not so much. Men just proceed and cheat. When men are in love, they cheat. They cheat with the person they're in love with. Because it's always just so hard for them to own up to having met somebody else. So anyway, this woman came and told me that she just cleared campus and she got an attachment at one of these high-end ministries. And so some guy took a liking for her and they started going on dates. And while I suspected it, she came and made it known to me that she had met somebody. And so in my foolishness, because you ought to accept when people want out of a relationship, I made up an elaborate plan. And my plan was to win her back into the relationship with me. So what did I do? I went out of my way and really tried to look for money because I was as broke. You know, there's the church mouse, and then there's just that mouse or mice that cannot access the church. I was that other mice. And so I think I don't know what I did to make money, but I made some maybe 8,000 bob. And I knew it was one of our desires to make an out-of-town trip. And so I sort of wooed her into accepting to go out of town with me. And off we went. But it was one of the most painful things in my life. If you're watching and you're a guy and a chick comes and tells you that they want out of the relationship, please respect them and just respectfully and graciously bow out of the relationship. Because all the while, when we were in this bus trying to make out for this town, she was ferociously texting this other guy. And it was making me the more sad. So we are there sitting next to each other and she just like texting. And I wanted to collapse. And the guy was also an avid texter, because the chick would send and then he'd send back. Chick would send and then he'd send back. And all the while I'm trying to be macho about all of these things. And I'm in deep, deep pain. Anyway, we got to the town and hung out. And no sooner did I realize that my money was very little. So in the state of enjoying this, what was supposed to be a getaway experience to try and woo my girlfriend back, I started making phone calls back in Nairobi to see if people can bail me out. Why are we so foolish? Oh my goodness. It didn't end well. The relationship finally ended. And I was 8,000 shillings poorer, plus being in debt. So that and many other thoughts of my own have caused me to think it fit to have a conversation with you tonight about ways to practice self-love. I think that's very important, especially as brothers. Men, it's almost prescribed by numerous societies across African culture that a man should be stoic and love themselves less. So much so that I read a very interesting report. They were saying that COVID has led to a lot of male deaths because men ordinarily feel weaker when they go seek for medical help. Can you imagine? And I thought that is such a shame. It's such a shame. So our behaviors cause us to even die, all right, because we are trying to be macho men. So how do you practice self-love? How? Have you ever thought about it? I think it's something worth thinking about, and not only thinking about, but practicing. In the recent past, about 5-6 years ago, if you've been following the series, I've been sharing about how I've practiced with a lot of intentionality the need to take care of myself, both mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And so when I was thinking about the foolish things I've done in the past in the name of love and relationships, I thought about how I took a turn in my life and decided to self-love. And that's what I want to share with you. Are you ready? Yes. So what ways would somebody practice self-love? And on top of my mind, and I think it shouldn't go without saying, it's very, very important. One of the things I have as Eric, maybe you don't battle with these, while I don't have a challenge being confident, I have voices in my mind sometimes that cause me to be very critical of self. So say a case in point, I'd go to the gym and do the reps that are supposed to be done. I'm so critical of self. I'd always want to revise it because I'd feel like I haven't done it well enough. All right. So if you're like me, please try and not give yourself to believing in everything you are thinking in your mind. There's always an inner critic, at least for me, that tells you that either you're not good enough, or what you've done is not up to par, or what you've done is substandard. Don't listen to that voice. Don't listen to that voice. The voice that tries to make you safe and small, that voice that tells you you cannot do it, do not listen to it. But even more than not listening to that voice, what I've found to help greatly is surrounding yourself with people who love you and encourage you. A friend of mine once came over to my house, and I was talking to him about this desire I have of this particular car I was really trying to buy. And my friend looked at me deep in the eye and just said, you know, Derek, I wouldn't even bat an eyelid to doubt that you can do it. You have the mind for it. You have the zeal, the zest, the passion, and the ability to do it. It's just a matter of time. If you put your ducks in a row, you're going to get it. And I was just thinking, man, look at this guy. He'd, for all intent and purpose, he'd have turned around and just shoved negativity down my throat, but he didn't. So it's very rare that you have people around you that want to see you succeed. So one of the things I decided to do also is just try and be around people who cheer you on. I remember another friend, this one time I was trying to move out many years back. So I went over to his apartment and we were having dinner, and I said to him, you know, I only have rent and deposit. Do you think going to pay rent and deposit, not knowing where money is going to come from, is foolish? And he looked at me and said, you have enough to start. In the same room was one of his cousins who said, don't listen to him. This guy is given to, mendacity. Do not listen to this guy. You know, Nairobi is tough. It's going to do you in. Don't follow his advice. And then my friend looked at me and said, look, what is the worst that can happen? You're going to fail and your house will be locked, and then you'll know you've done it poorly. Or you're going to look and think of ways to make rent. And I followed suit with his advice, and guess what? Many years later, still living in the same place his cousin thought I wouldn't afford. So, you know, surround yourself with people who love and encourage you. Very important. I would give that as the cardinal rule of trying to self-love, loving you, right? Because if you love yourself and you hang around people who are always kicking you in the curb, it's an exercise in futility, all right? Follow your passions and things that get you excited. What are you passionate about? That goes a long way. You have to follow that. That thing that makes your heart sing, follow that. And it can be crazy for other people, but don't listen to them. Hence the reason to hang out with people who encourage you. Because your crazy ideas will not be entertained by people who think them to be crazy. But people who love and support you will look at you and say, you know, cheer you on. I remember one time I wanted to lose weight so bad. I was so big. If you don't follow me on Instagram, head over there. And I think, as I've shared, I was 146 kilos. And this doctor friend of mine told me, accept that you are an obese. There's nothing you can do about it. You'll never change. You can't lose weight. And he was telling me as a matter of factly. So one time I met him maybe a couple of years down the road at another friend's wedding. And he was just like, wait, what? So yes, you do not want to listen to any other voice, especially about your passions. I don't care whatever you want to be. If you want to be an astronaut, go for it. Stop comparisons. We've talked about this before. Comparison is the thief of joy, the ultimate thief of joy. There's no one on this planet Earth, no one, all right, who is like you, all right? So you cannot fairly compare yourself with somebody else. Nobody is like you. No one is like you. Nobody speaks like you. Nobody looks like you. Even mirror twins, even though their features jibe, they are very different. Very, very different. I know that because my last born sisters are twins. They're very different. They are fraternal, but they are very different. So do not compare yourself to somebody else. That is a joy killer. All right? And all toxic relationships. I did this and my life just flipped all around. I'm very serious about this. Anyone who makes you feel less than amazing shouldn't be in your life. You see that guy, I gave you an example, who was telling me that I can get the car. Those are good people to be around. The opposite of that person, or somebody who possesses the opposite of that, should not be near you. Anybody who keeps telling you can... Just this morning, somebody sent me a horrifying text about COVID. And I was just like, why did you want to send it to me? I don't have COVID. I'll never catch it. I'm wearing masks. Why is it necessary for you to send me such demented texts? So you want to try and safeguard your surrounding in terms of your relationships. Because there are people who are sick and they want to share their sickness. All right? And then their diminished sense of selves always, for some reason, cannot just stay with themselves. They want to rub it off of you. Celebrate all of your wins, big or small. You've lost 2 kilos in 9 months. That is huge. Celebrate that. It's important. You've paid your bed sitter for the past year and it's not been locked. Look at you. Well in. Congratulations. You saved and went to Naivasha. That's amazing. All right? So it doesn't always have to be something out of this world, like going to the moon. Small things. You've not borrowed anyone money for a whole month. And you've been eating night after night after night. Look at you. That's what winning looks like. All right? Forgive yourself. We are so hard on ourselves. Oh my goodness. That girlfriend cheated on you, or that boyfriend cheated on you. Your husband did you in and you forgave him, plus took back the kid he sired outside wedlock. And guess what? You do the most minuscule thing and you're so hard on yourself. Forgive yourself. So what? You skipped working out the past 3-4 months. You know, the energy is going to come back around again and you pick it up from where you left. So don't be hard on yourself. Don't be hard on yourself, Agnes. Yeah? It's life. We are human. Sometimes we slide and sleep and fall and then we just get up again. The thing is to just keep on moving. Even if it's 19 months later, just keep on moving. Give up the need for approval from others. That was another thing of my own, which I have really tried so hard. I'm still trying. I don't care for your approval. I'm sorry. If my best is not good enough for you, bless your heart, move on, keep it moving. All right? I am not, as, what is her name? Indiari sang, I am not my hair and I'm not your expectations. And neither should anybody else be. All right? So the idea to seek approval from other people is, again, an exercise in futility. All right? Treat others with love and respect. Why? Because we get back what we give to others. It's very important. That is a way to, self-love. Yeah? And then finally, and I think equally important, fill your body with food and drinks that nourishes it. I know that you love your beer, but balance it up. Maybe you try and eat some broccoli sometime, and vegetables and fruits. That's where you live, man. That's where you live. You see that body? That's where you live. So if you do mtura and at best matumbo, you're interspersed, that's not so wise. You want to live there long enough, for as long as it can carry you. So especially if you're a brother, this is for you. Women have beat us at this. Women take care of themselves. They go for spa treatment and all these things. And what we do, we meet up for weekends and drink. We get sloshed, wake up, break the hangi the next day with soup. So yeah, so did I leave something that you do which says, I love you, right? For yourself, by yourself, without waiting for somebody else to do it yourself? Let me know. My name is Eric. Good evening and happy new month again.